We're living in this world of just incredible sophistication, aren't we? We talk across oceans instantly. We find our way using satellites. We carry like all of human history in our pockets.
Yeah.
And yet every single day, I mean, millions of times across the planet, we just regress. We fall right back into this conversational loop that feels, I don't know, older than the wheel. It's that argument, the one that just grinds your day down, the one that makes you feel completely alone, almost primitive in your despair, even while you're, sitting next to technology that could go to space. And it doesn't matter if this is happening in Taipei or Portland. The core tension, it's always the same. One partner feels completely abandoned, overlooked.
And the other feels relentlessly controlled, micromanaged even.
Yeah. And if you're listening, you probably know this script by heart. Partner A kicks it off, right? Launching the complaint. It's usually about being ignored or taken advantage of. It sounds specific, maybe harsh.
You said you'd call, you didn't. For 3 hours, I had no idea where you were. Is that fun for me? Seriously, it's just rude. You don't care. And bam, that accusation forces partner B straight onto the defensive. They fire back, usually complaining about feeling suffocated, needing space, always being watched. I was busy. Why do you always jump down my throat? Why criticize everything? I can't breathe. Honestly, nothing I do is ever good enough. I'm just fed up.
That exchange, that exact loop, that's the thread, the one that's pulled out of the seam of the relationship. And if you keep pulling it, the whole thing, the whole hem, it just starts to unravel. Okay, let's unpack this. Our goal here in this deep dive is to pull out the basic but really powerful skills you need to actually repair that seam bit by bit.
Right. And the repair work, it has to begin with a shift in how you're seeing things. It's a really radical shift, actually, especially when you're right in the thick of it.
Yeah.
And that shift is holding on to this unlikely thought, the person right in front of you, the one making you absolutely furious. They are not evil.
Okay, but that's a huge hurdle, isn't it? Because in that exact moment, when you feel that sting of being ignored or that weight of constant criticism, they really do seem evil. It feels like they have the worst intentions, like they're deliberately trying to hurt you.
It totally feels that way. That immediate gut feeling, it's powerful, but it's often a deception, really, born out of fear. But the reality check is so important. This is your partner. Deep down, this is the person who wants this relationship to work. They are fundamentally on your side, even if their behavior right now is, well, toxic.
It's just so hard to remember that goodwill, that foundation, when you feel like you're in emotional danger, abandonment danger. How do you actually fight back against that feeling of antagonism in the moment?
You have to do it consciously, with memory recall. You literally have to force your mind away from the fight that's happening now and bring up past evidence, proof of their goodwill. Think about those times they were, their sweet self, their sweetie or little bun moods, whatever you call it. Remember specific things, dancing in the kitchen, maybe holding you when you had a fever. Were those big sacrifices they definitely made for your life together, those memories. They prove their current failure, forgetting to call, flying off the handle, and it's coming from their pain or their fear. It's not coming from malice.
That makes a lot of sense. Okay, so if I can manage to accept they aren't actually evil, not trying to destroy me, then the whole point of the argument changes, right? It can't be about winning anymore or proving them wrong. So, okay, I accept they aren't evil. What's the very next thing I need to do, the action to break that script?
You have to stop attacking, full stop, and move towards something much more courageous and honestly, more exhausting. You have to explain your hurt.
Right, explain the hurt. That sounds like something you do in, like, high-level therapy. But I'm standing here, it's 8 p.m., I'm emotionally wiped out. How do I go from yelling about being ignored to sharing my tender, vast fears, as you put it, without feeling like I'm just, giving in or being overly dramatic?
It's about the structure of your language. That structure reflects an internal shift, taking responsibility for your feeling. And yeah, it takes a huge dose of vulnerability. You have to drop the pride. You have to stop using their mistake as a weapon. You need to carefully, maybe step by step, take your partner into the feeling that's hiding behind all that anger and sternness.
Okay, let's break that down. Let's use our example script. Partner A is furious. Partner B didn't call. What does the vulnerable, the courageous dialogue actually sound like?
So instead of the accusation, you're rude, you're inconsiderate, partner A needs to switch, needs to disclose their internal state. The courageous line sounds something like this. When you don't call me, I feel so lonely and bereft. I feel abandoned and honestly scared. See, the focus shifts. It's I feel, not you did.
And what about partner B? The one who feels attacked, criticized all the time. How do they move from that defensive, I can't breathe, nothing's good enough, to something genuinely vulnerable?
They need to talk about the pain the criticism causes, not just the annoyance of being controlled. So their shift sounds like,
Yeah.
when I mess up with calling and you criticize me so quickly, I don't actually hear your hurt, I just hear condemnation.
Mhm.
And I feel hounded, really insecure, like I'm just constantly failing you, like I can never, ever get anything right.
Ah, okay. What's fascinating here is that moment you actually introduce real feeling, the script just kind of stalls, doesn't it?
Yeah.
That vulnerability, that's the synthesis. It breaks that whole control versus abandonment cycle.
Mhm.
But for that to really stick, we need more, right? We need depth. The
Okay.
sources say we need a backstory.
Exactly. Our reactions right now, they aren't new. They're almost always dictated by old wounds, historical stuff. We need to offer our partner the story, the explanation for why we became these, well, these challenging people we are today. The people who desperately need mercy, whose buttons get pushed so easily by something as seemingly small as a late phone call.
We're not talking about just like dumping all our trauma on them, right?
Yeah.
It's more about connecting this specific reaction now to an older pattern. This is where that idea of the two children inside the argument gets really powerful. Can you clarify what we mean by inner child here? Is it literal?
No, not literal, not a 6-year-old hiding in the corner. We mean the emotional memory, the emotional reflexes that got wired in during times of past vulnerability, past pain. So when partner A feels abandoned over a late text, that feeling, it's way bigger than the actual event. It's proportional to the size of the original wound that just got poked.
Okay, so the backstory explains the scale of the reaction. Got it. For partner A, that fear of abandonment needs roots, something specific, deep. What might that sound like in conversation?
Partner A needs to share that history of waiting. A time maybe when no one came or when they felt completely powerless. They might say something like, look, when I'm waiting for you to call and the hours just kick by, it doesn't just feel like you're late. It reminds me of all those times I had to wait and nobody came. Like after school, endlessly when my mom had chemo, I felt so powerless then and alone. That feeling, it just washes over me now.
Wow, okay. And similarly, for partner B, that feeling of being condemned, like they can never succeed, that's an echo too.
Absolutely. Partner B needs to explain where that crushing feeling of being judged originates. They might say, you know, when I hear that critical tone in your voice, that throws me right back. It reminds me of being shouted at by my dad and just feeling like I could never, ever win him over, never make him proud. I suddenly feel like that kid again, like someone fundamentally worthless who's always going to disappoint the people they love.
That's the moment, isn't it? Where the two sort of inner children see each other's distress. Suddenly the fight isn't about the phone call anymore. It's about two wounded parts of themselves just trying to feel safe. And the adult rage kind of dissolves, replaced by this understanding of huge historical fear.
And the statements that really connect them, the ones that stop the fight cold, they focus on that shame, that inadequacy. Things like, the child in me feels humiliated right now, or the child in me feels totally condemned by your tone. When a partner truly hears that, they're not facing an enemy anymore. They're facing a person who desperately needs mercy.
Okay, theoretically, if a couple actually gets to this place, they've explained the hidden hurt, they've seen the wounded part of the other person, the storm should stop. But the source material talks about advanced practice. What happens after the revelation? What's the curriculum then?
The advanced practitioners, well, they conclude by actively playing back the lessons to each other. It's about cementing that understanding, creating almost like a new protocol for the relationship. They don't just feel better in the moment. They actually build a kind of diplomatic framework going forward.
So, after the emotional dust settles, what does that final diplomatic wrap-up sound like? Let's start with partner A, the one who fears abandonment. Partner A's lesson, where they acknowledge their own impact, might sound like, okay, I see now when I go in really hard with accusations, I realize it makes you feel like you can never please me, even though you can, and you do, often.
I'm going to try, really try, to lead with my fear next time, not my anger.
And partner B's lesson, it has to show they get it now, that historical fear. It might be.
Yeah.
Okay, when I let you down with messaging, I really see now how it hurts you somewhere incredibly deep, how it triggers that old feeling of abandonment for you. I'm going to try so much harder to manage my communication because I understand now my silence isn't just annoying you. It's causing you genuine fear. You know, this all sounds incredibly, well, sophisticated. And maybe to someone listening, someone who's just used to letting things blow up, it might even sound a bit silly, talking about inner children and diplomatic conclusions in the middle of a fight.
No, okay, yeah. If we connect this to the bigger picture, though, you have to compare that maybe slight silliness to the vastly, catastrophically sillier alternative. Shouting all night, escalating things until you're actually calling divorce lawyers, losing your savings, having small children commute across the country to see their separate parents. The real-world consequences of avoiding this gentle, difficult conversation, they are absolutely devastating. It's not silly at all when you think about that.
We tend to think of love as this huge, uncontrollable thing, don't we? This spontaneous emotion we just fall into and out of. But this reframes it completely. It suggests love is fundamentally, well, a sequence of hugely basic skills. What does a basic skill in this love curriculum actually look like? Give us the building blocks.
The building blocks aren't feelings, interestingly, they're actions. A basic skill is recognizing the pattern is starting again, stopping the escalation, choosing to use an I feel statement instead of a you did accusation, trying to identify the historical trigger in yourself or ask about theirs, and then crucially, offering intentional reassurance. These are basically diplomatic skills. They need practice, not just passion.
It really changes everything when you realize that emotional chaos isn't just inevitable. It means we actually have some agency over all that distress. So what does this all mean for you listening? It means that resolving conflict isn't about winning or proving your partner wrong or just drumming up enough passion to somehow get over the problems. It's really about the courage to explain your specific historical hurt. And it's about the capacity to offer mercy when you finally understand that your partner's screw-up right now is probably echoing their own childhood pain. Love, it seems, is a practical curriculum, diplomatic skills, and they can be learned. So here's a final thought to maybe chew on until next time. If all our amazing technology, our incredible intellect, can't save us from this kind of primitive despair in a simple relationship argument, what other really basic human skills, things like patient explanation, genuine curiosity, maybe just mercy, have we neglected in other parts of our lives? What are we fighting about out there in the wider world, from the office maybe to politics? That's actually just a reflection of an internal unaddressed need, maybe a need for simple reassurance or just safety. Something to think about. We'll see you next time.